guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a list of books that I am embarrassed that I have not read yet. This is a list of popular books that, for whatever reason, I never read them. We have thrillers, classics, romances, fantasy, all over the genres, and it's kind of sad that I have not read these. Some of these you're going to be like, haven't you read this? And that's okay. Some of these I already do have on a list to read shortly. The first one we're going to talk about, I already have borrowed. I haven't started it, but I do have it borrowed, and it's actually what inspired this list. And that book is Gone Girl. Gone Girl, I know it's a movie. I know that it was really popular in the thriller world. I don't know anything about it other than this guy's wife disappeared. That's all that I know. I don't know why everyone loves it so much. I don't know anything else other than that. According to the description on Amazon, it's not much help. All that I get out of that extra from what I just told you was that Nick is oddly evasive and he's definitely bitter, but is he really a killer? So it sounds like they're blaming him for his wife's disappearance, which that's typical. They always look into the spouse first just because, like, you have access, and motive, Strangers don't really have a whole lot of motivation to kill you. So I don't know. Really interested. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this book. And I'm getting ready to start it. But this is one that everyone seems to have read. This right here on Amazon says New York Times Readers Pick 100 Best Books of the 21st Century. But I've not read it. So really need to get on that. Man, the fantasy one that's on this list that everyone has read is Sword of Kaigen. And everyone seems to love this book. This book was a huge hit a couple of years ago. And I just never read it. I don't really have any excuses. It sounds really interesting. I don't know. From what I've gathered from people is that you've got this mom and her child, I guess it's a son, and they're living like on this island with this like town, this culture, right? The society, that's the word. And apparently they find out that everything that they've been told about the outside world is not real. And that's all that I know. I don't know anything. Oh, okay. So according to Amazon, their spit of land is named the Sword of Kaigen. So I thought Kaigen was going to be this dude's name. I don't know anything. Okay, so this actually makes it sound really intriguing. Much better description than what I gave. It says, the boy has always known his purpose, to master his family's fighting techniques and defend his homeland, but an outsider arrives, pulls back the curtains on their alleged age of peace. He realizes he might not have much time to become the fighter he was bred to be. Worse, the empire he was bred to defend may stand on a foundation of lies. So it sounds exactly up my alley because I love a story where we're going through society and then we figure out that like everything was a lie. I love that so much. Absolutely favorite thing. Now, I also did know that his mom was a fighter and that she sort of like hid that part away from her. She hid that part of her away from him. I did know that. So yeah, I don't know much else, but I do know that this is super, super popular and I've not read it. I need to read it. It definitely sounds like something that I would love. This next one is not something I would love, which is why I haven't read it. And that is The Cruel Prince. I had zero interest in reading this when it came out, but everyone seems to love this book. Absolutely everyone loves this book, and I can't do it. Okay? I just can't do it. Especially now that I've heard more about it, I definitely can't do it because, so this is what I know, okay? It's fairy world, and apparently he is a prince, obviously, and he is horrible. Like, it's a toxic, dark romance. And I don't want to do that. I don't do well with the toxic romances as we have figured out in the last year. So I know that I'm not going to like this. And I already didn't want to like it, or I didn't want to read it because it's fairies. I don't like fairies. I can't read anything with fairies. I haven't enjoyed anything with fairies outside of Cassandra Clare's Dark World, I don't know the second set. Lord of Shadows, I think is that one. Queen of Darkness, whatever. I don't know what the name of the series is called. I liked the Immortal Instruments, and I don't know that we had a lot of fairies in it. I think fairies were in the world, but I don't know that we really interacted a ton with the fairies. But those are fine. Um, but other than like her world, I haven't read any fairies. I just don't like them. I don't know why. That's all I got. And I know that I think Amazon writes their own reviews for these books for like their blurbs. But this sentence, okay, actually it's like 3 sentences, but it says, Cardin, and I'm assuming that's the prince, is even more beautiful than the rest. I hate him more than all the others. I hate him so much that sometimes when I look at him, I can hardly breathe. What is that sentence? What is that? I'm sorry. Get myself together. Yeah, no. I've read the description and I just don't care. I do love the political intrigue, and this sounds like it's gonna have like a lot of political intrigue and like her trying to vie for a spot in this world and being an outsider, that kind of stuff. I can't. But if you've not read Cool Prince, listen, don't take my word for it because I'm very biased against fairies, but everybody else seems to love it. So don't listen to me. I tend to not like the popular books, which more on that in another video, but I really tend to not like popular things. So everyone loves this. So you go for it. Oh, this next one. Verity. Haven't read it. Everyone else has read it. My friend who doesn't read has read Verity. And I haven't read it. I just don't really like Colleen Hoover. So I haven't read this. I don't even know what it's about. I don't know anything about it. I just read the description. And you know what? It actually sounds kind of interesting. So in this, we follow this girl, Lowen. I don't know. But anyways, so she gets recruited by Jeremy to help his wife. His wife's name is Verity, and she's an author, but I guess she's injured in some way and she can't finish her books. So he hires Lowen to come and help finish the book. So she's digging through all of the manuscripts and timelines and notes and whatever, and finds a journal of Verity's that could literally change everything. And Lowen is falling for the husband and is contemplating giving him this journal. That sounds intriguing. So I might have been wrong in not giving this a chance because it really seems like everyone's loved this. And I mean, that description sounds pretty interesting to me. It sounds like a lot of those stories like flipped on its head. And so, but it is a thriller from what I understand. So there's definitely going to be some sort of crazy twist in there, which might be interesting. So I might change my mind about not reading Verity. Oh, this one was a YouTube darling for the longest time. This is old. This is Vicious. Yeah, I've not read Vicious at all, and I really probably need to. I do own this one. Own it. I have an Audible credit that I use to get this one, so it's on my Audible list, so I could read it. But I don't know. I just never really interested me when it was coming out, and it was super hyped. And then, like last year, I think I was like, okay, I might read that. So what I know is that we have these two friends who did science magic experiments together, and then something happened, and now they're no longer friends, and now they're enemies. That's what I know. I don't know if that's right, but that's what I think I know. I was sort of right. So they're college roommates, and so they had a shared research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events, revealing an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities. And then their thesis moves from academic to experimental, and things go horribly wrong. And so that part seems really interesting to me, and the fact that now they're like at each other's throats, quite literally, actually. And so I'm hoping that this is a story where we don't have like a clear good guy. I love a story when you could root for both sides and we really see both sides' perspective and we really understand both sides. and you're just like, I don't know who I want to win, you know? So I really hope that that's what this is, because the blurb on Amazon doesn't show us being biased at all to any of them. So I really hope that that's how it goes, because that would be so much fun. And I might read this next year. Okay, so this one is also really popular when I first started like watching BookTube. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This one was huge. And I don't know, I never really read it, which is something because this is Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I love several of her books. So I really probably should try it because everyone seems to really love this. I don't even know anything that it's about, so I have to read the description to tell you. Okay, so what I understand, we have this woman, Evelyn, who was this like superstar. Think like Madonna type. And she has decided to allow Monique to share her story. So she's sharing her life story with Monique and going through all of the events of her life, and including the husbands. And that's pretty much the entire story. So I guess you figure out why she married seven of them, why she quit show business, all that kind of stuff. Probably told like an interview style, which I'm not a huge fan of, but might be able to do. Maybe with the audiobook, they'll do like full narration. So then it sounds like more real, which will be really cool. I don't know. I mean, Taylor Jenkins Reid does really good with her characters, and I think that maybe with this one, like her characters will be really good, and maybe that's why people really like it. Versus like, oh, I just love hearing about this star's life, you know. So I might try it. We'll see. That one's a maybe. This next one is definitely on my list. It is Icebreaker. I love me a hockey romance, and everyone seems to really love Icebreaker. Icebreaker gets recommended a ton for getting into hockey romances or sports romances in general, and it just gets recommended as a romance. Anyways, like everyone seems to really love it. I don't know anything about it. I do know that it's been on my list on Libby for like ever. Like last year, Libby's like, "Oh, you can borrow this now," and then I suspended it, and it's been almost a year now. So really need to read it. Okay. So this actually may be something that I really, really enjoy, and that's probably why I put it on my list, you know? So we have Anastasia, and she is working to be a USA figure skater, and she ends up getting into college in California, and apparently there's some sort of like facility mishap, overscheduling, whatever. And now the hockey team is practicing with the figure skating team. They're having to share the rink. I'm assuming they have to share it all season. So they're having to like interact more often. But then on top of that, Anastasia's partner can no longer do their routine or whatever, can't work together for whatever reason. So now she's looking at one of the hockey players who is the captain who she can't stand. So then he may have to like step in. And that reminds me a lot of like The Cutting Edge. Did you ever watch that movie? Oh, I love that movie so much, where she needs a partner and nobody will work with her because of her personality. And he's an ex hockey player just trying to get to the Olympics. And he partners with her in figure skating and figures it out. And they just like battle all the time. And it's so much fun. So this kind of reminds me of that. So I really need to get to this one. I think it's on my list for like the next couple of months. So I should get to it soon. So this next one is one that you probably read in high school because it seems like everybody read it in high school. I didn't read it in high school. I was in accelerated honors English for 3 years. I didn't do it senior year. We never read this book. We had to read books and take tests on them in order to get into honors English for the next year. This was never one of the books, or at least I don't remember it being one of the books, and I definitely didn't choose it because I definitely didn't read it. It is The Outsiders. See, you know, everyone's read this book, but me apparently. But I did watch the movie, mostly because it had what's his name, Ralph Macchio in it. I really liked him in Karate Kid, but I love this movie, and I'm really curious how similar it is to the book. I don't know. I haven't really heard a lot of comparisons between those. I may do that because it's been a while since I've watched the movie, so I may read the book and then like watch the movie and do like a video on comparisons. I haven't done that in a while. Really haven't done that in a while. But I think that this one will be really interesting. So if you've never heard of The Outsiders, which you're under the same rock that I'm under, you've got these boys called the Greasers, and you've got these other ones called the Soses. Soses? It's been a minute. Anywho, the Greasers and them are like at odds because they're from opposite sides of the tracks. And so they end up like fighting and like having all kinds of stuff, and then like tragedy happens, and now we're having to deal with like real life consequences for things. It's very character driven, just kids living life and trying to figure out who they are and where they fit in society, and dealing with like societal expectations and society hierarchy and stuff like that. And so I might read this soon ish. This next one is another classic that I feel like most people have read and that I've not read, and that is Frankenstein. Now, I do know that Frankenstein is not the monster like we always assume it is. I do know that about this story. That's about all I know. I do know I have seen the TV show that came out like last year. I did watch it and I liked it. But I've never read the book and I've never watched any other adaptations. If there are other ones, I just saw the TV show. But so, according to the description, because I don't know if it's the same as the movie as the description, I'm going to look at the description. Actually, Amazon does not have a description of this story, like what it's about. All it says is the story of Victor Frankenstein's terrible creation and the havoc it caused has enthralled generations of readers and inspired countless writers of horror and suspense. That's all it says. So I don't know what, but the movie, and from what I know, is you have Victor Frankenstein who is obsessed with death for whatever reason. I've heard that the book and the movie have different reasoning behind that, but they both agree that he is obsessed with death, and he creates this this being out of different body parts of like different people, just like a modge podge of parts together, and it comes alive. And now he's responsible for this thing, and they call it a monster, and dealing with that in society, basically. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how much the book will be different, but I do kind of want to read this. I'm just really worried about like the writing style because it's older, and I don't do really well with like older writing styles. I don't know. That's why I can't read classics. But I think I might try this one. And then the last one on this list that I know everyone has read, and it's also by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and it is Daisy Jones and the Six. This one was huge several years ago on BookTube. It seemed like everyone was reading it, and I just didn't seem to want to, but I don't know. I might need to. Okay, so this is not what I thought. I thought that this book was going to be more like Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, where we have this band and we are figuring out all the stories of the band, like post everything happening. It's not how the description is reading it. Talks about Daisy and how she's a singer and she's, wilding out basically. And then you have this band called the Six, and this producer, manager, whatever, puts them together, and now they're touring together and chaos ensues. So I don't know. Kind of sounds more interesting than what I originally thought. See, sometimes you just need to have a better understanding of what the books are about. We've actually had a couple of those that I'm like, wasn't really sure what it was about. I didn't really care for it. And then I was reading the description. I'm like, oh yeah, actually that might be much better than I thought it was going to be. So, word to the wise. Find out what they're about before you actually cross them off your list. Because you never know. Like Verity actually does sound pretty interesting. So I really might read Verity. When going into this list, I was like, I've not read it, but I probably won't. I actually really might. Just like, I really might read this, especially because I really love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think she does a really great job. So, definitely gonna try. Definitely gonna try to at least read some of these anyways. But what books have you not read that you probably should have read back when they were popular? What books do you recommend me read? Or any of these lists that you're like, you have to try this one? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.